pretty fun one that we think will be fun on a Wednesday.
Yeah. Let's get it started. I know there are some good questions we got from Twitter, maybe a couple from an email. I cannot wait to dive into these. So let's start right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making Locked On Rays your very first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Rays is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube at Locked On Rays. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And if you're interested in being an advertiser or having us do a live broadcast from your business or location, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Blue Nile. Make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. And going on now is the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale. You can save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today.
Kevin,
all right, Ulises, let's start. Yeah.
I want to ask you, have you gone to a Rays radio watch party? Like, where they do that like at Hooters or whatever? Have you ever done that?
I'm not allowed because of my tremendous Neil Solondz impersonations that no access. I get kicked out. Honestly, I mean, security, like if I step 1 foot into a Hooters or Ferg's, wherever Neil's broadcasting live, I mean, they're right on the case. I don't know if they've, got me microchipped or whatnot, but I mean, that's basically my answer. I'm not allowed. And quite frankly, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to listen either.
Wow. That's impressive. I'm just bringing this up because number one, I haven't heard them doing a lot of them this year, so that's odd.
Yeah.
And maybe I've just missed it, whatever.
Right.
But the second thing is you were saying about doing a broadcast on somebody's place of business. That would be an interesting a thing to do, would be a watch party. We go to your place of business. We watch the game. We kind of do our whole shtick, we could come out there and do a game like that.
Yeah. Everything's on the table. If that's something that you think you might be interested in, hey, even if you don't have a business, if you just have a house or a condo and want us to come and watch a game and do a couple podcasts from your place, I mean, we're literally open for anything, quite frankly.
Yeah, exactly. Just DM us and we'll figure it out, man.
And we promise we won't be like Rich Herrera and get drunk on air while doing a pregame show or a postgame show. Just saying. All right, let's before we get in trouble here, people know what I'm talking about.
If you're a Rays OG, you know that. Yes.
Yeah.
If you're like a Gen Z listener, you're like, Rich Herrera, who is this? Well, Google's there for you.
Yeah. And if you want all the gritty, gory details of that event, I don't have all those details, but Andy Freed and Dave Wills may or may not have some of those details. So let's go ahead and get into the mailbag questions here. This from Danny Perez. He says, who do you see as the better player? Shane Baz or Taj Bradley? And then another one on the offensive side, Curtis Mead or Jonathan Aranda?
Ooh, good questions, man. Good questions, Danny. Thank you for always writing to us and listening to us. I know you have been doing that for a while, so thank you. Well, I think it's unfair to compare a AAA guy to a guy that we've seen have small amounts of success in MLB, like Shane Baz. So if I had green Skittles and you're urged for an answer right now, Danny, I would go for the proven, quote unquote, Shane Baz. But even he is not proven in MLB, is he not? So it's a fun question. So my answer has to be fun too and not tied to the real world. I would go for Shane. Let's get that pitching question first. Do you agree with me, Kevin?
No, I agree. And Shane Baz, we've seen it. Yeah, he's had some hiccups, and the injury setback certainly doesn't help. But man, when we did see him at his best, we saw 4 elite level big league quality pitches. We saw a guy who was composed, had one of the cleanest, most consistent deliveries, and probably the easiest 98, 99 fastball you'll ever see. So yeah, I got to go Shane Baz. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was, several, 8-10 months ago that we were having a conversation about, hey, should Shane Baz be the ace of the unit for 2022? Is Shane Baz already better than Shane McClanahan? Of course, the tide has turned a little bit in that prognosis there, but I think, we got to go with Shane Baz as of right now. Now, the Curtis Mead versus Jonathan Aranda question is an interesting one. I would tend to lean toward Curtis Mead because there is so much hype around him and what he's doing at the AAA level at 21 years old. And Jonathan Aranda, I just think that the peak and the ceiling is greater for Curtis Mead than Jonathan Aranda. And something that I don't know if it concerns me about Jonathan Aranda, but I just wonder this about him is even with all the injuries that the Rays have unearthed so far this year, and him being on the 40-man roster, why still has he not gotten a fair shake? Why has he not gotten that opportunity?
Yeah, no, and that's a fair argument to make. One is 21 years old, Mead, and Aranda's 24, so the age difference does speak to maybe the high ceiling or low or high floor of each of them. I have you've talked about this, the Cronenworth effect, the Cronenworth path. Is that what Jonathan Aranda is going to be, or is he going to go the Colton Wong / Kevin Padlow route, where he sees very limited time and then just gets shipped off and sayonara? You never hear from him again. I just don't understand why you would not give Jonathan Aranda a shot in 2022 when he's performing that well in AAA, and you're decimated by injuries, and yet you call him up a couple times, but then don't give him the shot. That's worrisome to me. So just with that, plus the age difference between Mead and Aranda, I would go for, I think Mead would be my pick, Danny.
Yeah.
And you know how we have the Venezuelan bump for Venezuelan-born players that are wearing Rays jerseys and other MLB jerseys too, because I do that too. Guess what? There's a Locked On Rays bump, buddy. Curtis Mead was on the show, baby. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. It's on a playlist on YouTube. It's player interviews, and we have all our player interviews right there and there for you. And Curtis Mead is one of them. And he just is an amazing guy. He talks all about his approach and what he does to get better every single day. I'm sorry, there's a Locked On Rays bump, and I think that's also a factor here.
I agree. And again, not to say that we just follow prospect rankings blindly, but Curtis Mead is the Rays' number 2 prospect. Jonathan Aranda is the Rays' number 18 prospect. And when teams came a-calling for trade proposals at the trade deadline, they mentioned Taj Bradley and Curtis Mead. I didn't hear as much of, we're going after Jonathan Aranda, because I think the ceiling, and because there's so much to like about Curtis Mead. Now, if there's something to nitpick about him, is that he may wind up being a first base only type, and he's got an unconventional stance and swing, but hey, he hits the ball as well as just about anybody in the minors. So I don't think that's something that is a big time issue. But is it fair to say that the ceiling for Jonathan Aranda, disregard the position, but something like a James Loney, Casey Kochman type, while Curtis Mead legitimately could be a multi-time All-Star. Could be Corey Dickerson. I don't know how many All-Star appearances Corey Dickerson made, but
I think the one with the Rays, or maybe two.
Yeah,
I think two.
I think when I think Jonathan Aranda, I think guy who will put up a 10 to 12 WAR career. Curtis Mead, I'm thinking of a guy that could put up a 25 to 30 WAR career.
Yeah, I mean that's the argument that we're making, and that's why we're putting Mead over Aranda. So I agree with the ceiling and floor differential there between the two players. I will say though, I have heard that this year Mead has done leaps and bounds on his defense on third. Like the guy is coming in with barehanded plays. He has a bit better range at third than he ever did before. He's working on the accuracy of his throws. Like it's night and day, his work at third from last year. And that's incredibly important because we really haven't had a good defensive third baseman.
Right.
I mean, Joey Wendell was really good, but he was moving all over the place. Like he wasn't your third baseman. Yandy Diaz, smooth hands when it's next to him, but he doesn't have a lot of range. Matt Duffy, smooth hands, good range, but let's be honest, not what you wanted to have as a third baseman with the power production. So we're really talking Evan Longoria. And folks, he hasn't been wearing a Rays uniform since 2017. So it's been a minute. So you're telling me that Yandy Diaz, who's going into his second year of arbitration, who's having a terrific year at the plate, wouldn't be exactly the type of player that, unfortunately, the Rays, due to their budget constraints, would not ship off just like they did Joey Wendell last offseason. And then you need a spot at third base. Couldn't you see a Curtis Mead taking that helm? Mm-hmm. I could see it.
Yeah. So, no, that's a great question from Daniel Perez, but I think we're both on the same page there. I mean, Boz and Mead, is that right? That's what we're going with? Okay, good. All right, we got more mailbag questions to unpack here, but Ulises, we have to give some people some health advice here.
Yes, we do. You know, sometimes maybe you're struggling with being bloated after watching a Rays game. You're like, oh, was it a lot of peanuts I ate? Was it the beer? Are you having uncomfortable digestive issues? My goodness, was the Rays offense just non-existent and you're just feeling kind of down? Maybe you're tired and sluggish. Well, there's a good chance you might have an overworked liver. So thanks to diets high in processed foods and exposure to thousands of harmful toxins, that could be it. So the solution, well, you need to cleanse and gently detoxify your liver. And that's where Liver Health Formula from PureHealth Research can help. Liver Health Formula combines 8 powerful nutrients such as turmeric, beet, and artichoke extract to gently detoxify your liver. Think of it as putting in a David Peralta right in the middle of your lineup, and now you kind of have a deeper kind of set of guys. Same thing with Liver Health Formula from PureHealth Research. So as a listener of our show, you can try Liver Health Formula risk-free today and get a free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Curb Fit is a safe and all-natural appetite suppressant, making it easy to say no to naughty foods. This makes it the perfect complement to Liver Health Formula. So go to getliverhelp.com/MLB to learn more. I will say it again. That's getliverhelp.com/MLB to try Liver Health Formula today.
I definitely need some Liver Health Formula. I mean, more ways than one. All right, this next question from Zach Dabb. Who's more likely? This is a great question. Who's more likely to win MVP next year, Brandon Lowe or Wander Franco?
Oh, terrific question.
Yeah.
Zach Dabb. How are you, man? How are you, Zach? I hope everything's good. Good question, man. This is a tough one because recency bias is making me lean Brandon Lowe because he has been on fire since coming back from the IL. And, you know, Eddie Murphy would say, what have you done for me lately? And Brandon Lowe has done a lot for me lately, and Wander Franco has done not a lot for me lately.
He's gotten hurt lately. That's what he's done. And Brandon Lowe is a second baseman capable of hitting 39 home runs and driving in 99.
So when you look at it that way, and also, for those who hate traditional stats, yeah, he's a 5-WAR player, at the second base position. He's not. I know maybe Brandon Lowe lovers are going to hate me for saying this. I don't particularly love his defense. I don't.
It's fair. But when you hit 39 home runs as a second baseman, that doesn't quite matter all that much.
Exactly. You have to look at overall value. Overall value is what matters. So at the end of the day, just because he's not whoever you want in second base. I mean, Dustin Pedroia was pretty good, even though his size was not optimal for second base. He really was a really good defensive second baseman, if I remember correctly. If I don't, then I'm sorry, guys, but I really do remember that like that. He just puts up numbers. So
yeah,
I think I have to lean Brandon Lowe, unless Wander just has a stupid, crazy. I think Ty McCann said this. If he hits higher than 320 or 330, if he goes off, maybe because of the name recognition. I believe Wander Franco has more name recognition than Brandon Lowe, even though Brandon Lowe has done more in 4+ years, because that's how it goes. Baseball's not fair sometimes, and name recognition is not fair sometimes.
The name recognition, the prospect ranking, the flash, the all-around hitting ability, but this question is specific. Yes, the position and the contract, all that. Franchise player, the moniker. Who's more likely to win MVP next year, 2023? Brandon Lowe or Wander Franco? Let me flip this question a little bit. Wander Franco in 2023, do you think he will hit 20 home runs or more?
I think that's something he's going to try to work on. I think he's just like you saw him working on the left side of the plate in the off season, in all his Instagram videos. Everything he posted was from the left side. Why? That was why one of the biggest flaws that we saw from his game is hey, he's a switch hitter, but from the left side is kind of there's a discrepancy there. Every single video that he posted in the offseason, it was him batting from the left side. So if you look at his game this year, yes, the injury would be number one, or injuries would be number one. But number two would be, okay, where's the pop? Is the pop happening? Is there no pop? Is it just going to be line drives, which is fine. You can be a line drive guy. But I do think Wander, he looks like a big dude. Big dude for his stature. So can he grow that into his game? I think that'll be one of the things that he's going to work on this year. So likely, you said, I think Zach Dapp said the word likely. Who's more likely to win the MVP next year, Wander or Brandon Lowe? I would have to lean Brandon Lowe.
I agree. And the point I brought up with the home runs is the fact that we're not even 100% sure if Wander Franco yet can get the 20 home run threshold. How many MVPs, National League or American League, have done so with 20 home runs?
Dude, I kind of don't even want to. Actually, we should look it up, because maybe
I have looked it up.
Oh, you have?
Yes. I'm not going to give away the farm here, but let's just say the list of guys who have won MVPs over the last 25, 30 years with fewer than 20 home runs is very, very small. We're talking
how small?
3 names. We're talking Dustin Pedroia, we're talking Ichiro Suzuki, and we're talking Barry Larkin.
Okay, this is a perfect question. Let's bring him back to Klosky. If we have him this week, this is exactly the question that we're going to ask him, because he might miss this episode. So this would be great.
But my point is, if you don't hit 20 home runs, at least 20 home runs, if you're Wander Franco, you better be batting 340 and get in 40 bags.
Yeah.
Because guys who win MVP, guys who win MVPs are named Mike Trout and Giancarlo Stanton and Chris Bryant and Ryan Braun and Josh Hamilton and Justin Morneau.
But this is why this question is really fun, because you said if he can't hit 20, he has to hit 340 and steal 40 bags. I can see that from Wander Franco. Right. I can see Wander hit 340 and swipe 40 bags. So that's why this is a great question, Zach, because I think Lowe can put up MVP type numbers. Hello, he's been top 10 the last 2 years. Does everybody remember that? I do. He's been top 10 the last 2 years. So can he put MVP numbers likelier than Wander Franco? I think I lean Brandon. However, with your great research, he would have to do something like 340, which I think that's what Ty McCann said, 320 or 330. 340 and swipe 40 bags. I can see that from Wander. I can see that.
Right. I can too. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be 2023, but that's part of the fun and part of what makes this question really enjoyable to dive into. Speaking of Wander Franco, I mean, I could make a jewelry joke right here, but I'll just talk about Blue Nile. You can make your moments sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com. Wander Franco knows a little bit of something about jewelry. And going on right now is the Blue Nile anniversary sale. Save up to 40% on classic fine jewelry pieces and 25% on engagement ring settings. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what is inside. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today.
Talking about jewelry, thank you so much to Brian Wilbur. I don't know if I ever said this, but yeah, Brian Wilbur contacted me. He said, "Hey, I have an extra Wander Franco, and you said it on an episode that you wanted one, but that you were abroad. Do you still want it?" So he got in contact with me, and we made it happen. He shipped it and all that. So Brian,
so that's how you got the number 5 Wander chain.
Yeah. Because he listened to the episode or watched it on YouTube. He probably watched it, people, because those who watch are subscribed to the YouTube channel, and you are all so damn cool. And yeah, he saw the episode where I said, "Oh man, I'm abroad. I can't go to the game. I wish I could. If anybody has an extra one," and he legitimately then contacted me and said, "Hey, I have an extra one. You want it?" So that's how I got it.
Yeah, awesome for Brian there. Great listener of the program, and I mean, shameless plug here, but if you just want to send us free stuff, I mean, we'll take it too. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. I mean, whatever it is, we're down.
Well, Ant Verdi also gave us free shirts, because he's got a t-shirt company, and he does like little pocket t-shirts, and then he puts the image on the pocket of the t-shirt, and they're really cool. And he gave us Randy Rosarena, Brett Phillips ones, and Longo ones, and he was really cool. So there you go.
So if anybody has a 2021 Chevy Tahoe with minimal mileage, email us, lockedonrays@gmail.com. All right, this final question that we'll get into today from the Baseball Podcast Are Fun on Instagram. They say, who's the heart of the Rays now without Brett Phillips?
Oh, that's a great question. And good plug on there. Follow them on Instagram. Listen to their podcast. It's really great. It's done by this kid who is just a baseball lover, and that's just so cool that he does it at such a young age. He even had, I believe, Colin Poche and Brett Phillips on his podcast, so that's really cool. You know who was during this weekend series? You know who was the guy on the first step, like Willie Adames used to be, and like Brett Phillips used to be? You know who was on the first step?
I am not sure. If I had to just take a random guess, I would say G-Man Choi, perhaps.
No. David Peralta.
Okay.
David Peralta, people. He was the guy first step. I am loving this acquisition. Yeah. Venezuelan bump and all. I mean, first step, like that's the guy who was greeting people when they were coming in. This guy is new to the organization. I'm getting David DeJesus vibes. You just come in new, and it's like, oh, you were the missing piece. you fit so well in our clubhouse. The vibe is perfect. Like that's what David Peralta is like screaming at me through Bally Sports. Like he is that guy. I just, I think Mark Topkin retweeted a video of a post game last week of an interview of him saying like, oh, I've been here for a long time. It was like a second game, so I needed to do something for the ball club, and thank God I got the game winning RBI. Like that type of jokes and mood, like being first step at the dugout, man. I gotta give it to David.
And I think that, again, beyond what he has done in his fantastic career, it's the human side of things and what he brings from a chemistry standpoint, especially with that was probably part of, hey, the Rays want to go out and target a guy like David Peralta, which eases the blow of realizing that we just can't afford to keep Brett Phillips on the roster, not because of money, but because of the bat and elsewhere. But the fact that Kevin Kiermaier's out, the fact that Tyler Glasnow was out for so long, the fact that Wander Franco is out, like you got to have some sort of presence. The fact that Willy Adames was traded last year, like you're losing heart and soul guys, and you have to make that up in some shape or form. And I think David Peralta has definitely proven and will be the guy to do that. Now, I agree with you, but just forward looking a little bit, who do you think that guy is going to be in 2023?
There you go. Now that's a good question. I think it could be. I think honestly, it would be Wander.
Yeah,
I think it would have to be Wander because he's the guy. He's the face of the franchise. Like Brandon Lowe is not that guy. He's not. You look at Mejia, he's not that guy. Randy Rosarena, he's fun and all that, but I don't think he wants that mantle. Wander Franco, when you are when you're earning $182 million contract from a team, you're also taking on a kind of a responsibility, just like Evan Longoria did with his contract at the time. You're the guy. You're the guy. So you have to, be the person, the first step. And honestly, I think it actually speaks to Wander that he wants to be the guy. Look at him in the clubhouse when he's healthy. He's always joking around. He's always talking to people. He's, looking at the iPad and having jokes and all that. Like he's always celebrating with people when they do well. I think it also, his young age kind of suits him into the role of like being not a cheerleader, but kind of like, pumping his teammates up. I think everything in Wander's bubble makes him be that guy for 2023.
No, I agree. And that could be a more imperative role if you absolutely don't have Kiermaier part of the team. If the Rays do something with G-Man Choi and Yandy Diaz and other guys who bring their own positive vibe and energy, like you could be in a situation where not starting over from scratch, but there's a lot of, fun, important personalities that are no longer on the roster. And you got to have a guy that can bring in that new wave, if you will. And I think Wander's absolutely the guy to do that. Quick follow-up question again, and then we'll end the program here. Brett Phillips, I know he's gotten a couple doubles with the Orioles and seems to be hitting it off to some extent. Do you foresee Brett Phillips earning an MLB roster spot out of spring training in 2023? Will he be on somebody's 26-man roster?
God, I really want him to. Like, I don't care if it's the Pirates. Like, get this man a job. Like, get this. I mean, he is a tremendous outfielder. He runs the bases perfectly. He is exactly the type of teammate that you want to have in a losing ball club. Like, imagine him in the Pirates or the Cubs or, the Diamondbacks. Like, my goodness, at least they would have a good time. At least have somebody to like pump them up at times, I'm going to say yes, because I want good things for Brett Phillips to happen. So I would definitely say yes.
No, I think that's
I hope so.
Especially I hate to say a bad team, but a bad rebuilding team that might have some prospects on the come up, and you want to put a good influence around them who better than Brett Phillips? I mean,
yeah,
and I'm sure something can be worked out. I mean, he definitely has a unique presence for sure. So great questions there. Again, keep them coming. The mailbag questions, lockedonrays@gmail.com, or you can DM us or send us a message anytime.
Anytime we might not have them for the next week, but again, like Darren, like if you send them as a bunch, boom, like then you basically have all your answers, all your questions answered the next mailbag that we do. So please keep them coming, and of course subscribe to that YouTube channel. Look at that, boom, it just came on there like magic. Subscribe to it. It's free. We don't charge for it. We don't annoy you with notifications. It's just something that you do to help us. Thank you.
That is true. Heck, I mean, speaking of mailbag questions, we have Joshua Garner who has a great question about all-time Tampa Bay players, and that we don't know if that's going to be an off-season episode or a really slow week episode, but we've got that on the back burner that he sent a couple months ago. So just because you send us something and we don't get back to you or we don't answer it on the forthcoming mailbag episode doesn't mean we're not going to get to it. We probably will at some point. So thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB Prospects podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on Thursday.